Hello everyone, welcome back to London Street Photography Festival, and we are bringing you our second talk today by Elena Alexandra from Germany. And without further ado, Elena, over to you.
Hi, I'm Elena, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation. I introduced myself briefly, and then I was asked to give you a talk about my perspective on street photography. So, well, my name is Elena Alexandra, and I was born and I grew up in Russia and Vietnam. I went for studies to Germany and later Spain, and now I'm living in Spain and in Germany. I'm a psychologist, researcher, and street photographer. And I was thinking what I could tell today, because I don't know who is watching, and I don't see you, and there are no questions. And I thought I share with you my perspective on the process of the street photography. And one colleague of mine, Nina Klink, is the German-American street photographer. She made a statement, street photography is all about being in the present. And I deeply resonate with this statement, because when we are on the streets, we are fully aware of the present moment. We concentrate on what is going on the people, on the distance, on the light, on our camera, and we have to be fully aware and present with all our senses. And this is being alive and being in the present, and thinking of being fully aware in the present moment. I think about meditation, because the goal of the meditation to develop this full awareness of the moment. And there are many kinds of meditations, and maybe some of you who join us from India, you know. And the most simple one and the most fundamental one is a meditation when we observe our breath. So we basically just follow our breath. I'm breathing in. And I know I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out, and I know I'm breathing out. And it sounds very simple, but this is something very important, what is happening during this breath observation. We do connect our inner world with the outside world. We breathe in, and we are bringing a part of the outside world, the air, into our inner world, our body, and we breathe out, and we are bringing a part of our inner self into the outside world. And by that process, we do anchor ourselves in the present moment. So we connect ourselves with the reality. And for me, there's something similar is happening in the street photography. When we are on the streets, we are observing, and something catches our attention, something arises our feelings, emotions, and this is the moment where the outside world touches our inner world, and we decide to take a picture. And by taking the picture, by shooting, and then by editing, selecting what photographs we do present, we share the part of our inner world with the outside. So, and through this sharing of our photography, our art, we do connect with other people again. And this is the metaphor of meditation. How do you understand this in the Buddhist tradition? How you anchor yourself in the present moment. This is, for me, it's a very similar process in street photography. So you anchor yourself in the present moment. You transform the experience from the outside inside, and then you're giving it back to the world. And to illustrate this thought, an example of my photographs, I decided to show you a couple of my photographs, and I would reveal my inner state when I was taking these photographs, and to show you how I do understand and how I create photography. So I share my so I hope I don't have any feedback from you, so that's a bit strange, but I'm hopeful that you can see the picture I'm showing you. This photograph I took in Cordoba, Spain. Oh, now I got a message in the chat. Let's see. Okay, the message was, it works. Perfect, thank you. So this photograph I took in Cordoba in Spain, in a very beautiful park, Alcázar de los Reyes Cristianes. And in this park, there were many families with children, and they looked very festive. They were celebrating something. I don't know what it was, but I was thinking maybe it was a Catholic communion, because the children were dressed very traditionally. So in this garden, in this park, there were families, children, and photographers who were documenting this festive moments. So I noticed a couple, a girl and the photographer, and the photographer was shooting her. And I observed this scene for a while, and the girl was posing, and I was observing. So basically, between me and the girl, it was a camera, and it was another photographer. And I was observing for a while what they were doing, and I was thinking how would I do the photograph of the girl. And by the end, I made a photograph in the moment where she was leaving. And it was the most beautiful moment for me of the whole scene. I was living with them. And when I think back at that moment where I took the photograph, well, I personally, at that moment of my life, I was in a process of saying goodbye. And when I look at this photograph now, it's about living in grace and in beauty. This photograph for me is a reminder how it's important to honor the moments of saying goodbye and to make it beautiful. Because these moments of saying goodbye may be connected with difficult feelings, and sometimes we tend to skip them. But they're actually very important, and I think they're worth of doing this in grace and beauty. And this photograph has this meaning for me. And I think it was not just a coincidence that from all of happening in front of me, I choose this living scene and I captured that. So, and now my presentation, I just have to start it again. So this photograph I took in Hamburg, and it was a mask parade in Hamburg that happens once in a year. And this is a secret event that is not publicly announced. But I was invited by friends. I was lucky enough to be there. And at this parade, where people are wearing Italian masks and costumes, so very festive, I noticed the peacock lady, and she had like an amazing, brilliant peacock costume. And she was surrounded by by photographers. So you see in front of her, there are all the hundreds of photographers who were shooting her, and she was posing and making a performance. And I was observing this scene, and I got a question in my head. Well, this is a perfect performance, and she's amazingly beautiful. But what's behind the facade? How is she feeling at this moment? Where like hundreds of cameras, hundreds of people of eyes are looking at her, shooting her, and she's smiling, giving this perfect offering. And I decided to change the perspective. So I went behind her and took the photograph behind her. This crowd of photographs in front of her. And so the meaning of this photo for me, when I looked at this later, is about the external offering, external facade, beauty, performance we give, and what is actually behind it. Who is interested in it? And I'm always interested what is behind, so that's why I decided to change the perspective and took this photograph. So this one, Sleeping Beauty, is now, I guess, my most well-known photograph. And I told the story of Sleeping Beauty in a couple of interviews. Well, it was a difficult moment, the moment I took this photograph. It was Sunday night, and I took the last train from Hamburg to Odense, Denmark. It was a business trip, and I was actually ill. I got cold, and I was waiting till the last Sunday hours just to see how will I feel. Should I still attend the meeting or not, or should I cancel it? And I decided to go, and I'm happy I did this, because I met this lady on the train and made this photo. So being on the train, I was ill. I felt very weak, and it was not only the fact that I was ill. And at that train, I was also very sad, because a couple of days before, something very sad happened to me, and I was heartbroken. So I was sitting there ill, heartbroken, the biggest version of myself since years. And then I noticed this girl, and I thought, no, I don't have energy to take any photos. I can't even hold my camera. And then a voice inside of me said, take a picture. And I thought, no, there's no enough light anyways. And I don't have energy to defend myself, and she will wake up or other passengers will take notice of it. And again, this voice, take a picture. And it was an insisting voice. And then I gave up. Or I didn't give up. And I took the picture. And this picture brought me here. In fact, now I'm talking to you because this picture brought me here. And the reminder for me and the meaning of this picture is that no matter how sad or weak you feel in one particular moment, you're still capable of doing great, amazing things when you follow your voice inside. When you're brave enough to listen to it and to follow it, no matter what's the world around you, what is life offering you right now, it's maybe really bad, but when you follow yourself, you're still capable to do it great. And so this photograph is a reminder for me. It's very special because of this personal experience I had. This photograph I took just a couple of weeks ago in Malaga, Spain. I noticed this light reflection on the wall in form of the heart. And took a picture. And a couple of moments later, this heart transformed itself into something else, into a book. So it was a brief, ephemeral moment. And later, when I looked at this picture, it reminded me of the quote of the Persian poet Rumi. If there is light in your heart, you will find your way home. And for me, this photograph is a perfect illustration of this quote, and is a reminder of this thought, of this truth, with what I deeply resonate. And this is what this photograph for me about. And I couldn't find a better title for it as the quote of Rumi: if there is light in your heart, you will find your way home. And the last photograph I want to share with you today is this one I took maybe a couple of months ago, again in Spain. And it was on the male toilet in the old library. And you may ask yourself what I was doing on the male toilet. I was just passing by, and I noticed that beautiful light and reflections, and I decided to enter and take a picture. And of course, it didn't it didn't go smooth. I was noticed by a security man. So in the moment I was on that male toilet, crawling on the floor, trying to capture this to capture these reflections, the security man appeared and asked me, do you know that's a male toilet, Senora? And I said, yeah. And I continued shooting because I had a couple of moments still while we were talking. And then he asked me, do you know this is a public space, Senora? And I said, yeah. And I continued shooting because I had a goal. And then he asked me, do you know it's prohibited to shoot here? And I said, yeah, but it's about light. It's an art. Crawling on the floor. And he looked at me like I'm completely insane. But it was okay, because by that time I already finished shooting, and I was content with the shots I took. And so I was able to say thank you and gracias and adios, and just left in beauty this male toilet. And I was very grateful that he didn't get angry, and he got just very puzzled and confused about the process of street photography on the toilet. And this photograph for me about seeing beauty in ordinary things is about breaking rules. Because as street photographer, we do break rules. And it depends, it heavily depends on the country you're photographing. And you have to be brave as a street photographer, that's for sure. So this photograph is for me about seeing extraordinary in ordinary things. And it's a reminder for me that everywhere, the beauty is everywhere. You just have to be open to see it and to be brave and dedicated enough to capture it. So that was the selection I've chosen to show you today. And I'm open for your questions. And yeah.
Thank you so much. It's fascinating talk. It really resonated with me what you were talking about, breathing and meditation, because I know for how many photographers going on the street is a form of meditation and clearing your head and just being in the moment. I think many people can relate to that. I have a fundamental question, and I think we're gonna open a can of worms here. In your opinion, in street photography, what's more important, composition or story?
Well, this is a difficult question. I would say it doesn't matter. For me, what is important is the meaning that a photograph transports. And when the composition is not perfect, but the meaning is still perfectly transformed, that's fine. And so that really depends. I don't look technically on these aspects, because I think you may fail on technical aspects like composition or story, but you better have the feeling, the emotion, and the meaning, and that you're able to transport it. So the technical aspects, for me, they do go into the background, just personally for me.
Thank you. Another question. As you grow as a photographer, how do you think what is changing in what you're looking for on the street?
Well, I'm not looking, I'm finding. And I do believe that what I'm finding, and this I was trying to illustrate with my selection of my photographers, and with this little insight into my inner world, that what I'm finding is actually already inside of me. So that resonates with me. So and this is the idea of this being interconnected with the world, because I do go outside, and my inner world resonates with the outside world. So, and I notice something what is already inside of me. So, and I know today it could be a little girl living this scene, just being elusive, and tomorrow it could be a male toilet, and I don't know, another day it could be an old man, or it could be, I don't know, something else. So I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, that was great. Another one. How do you think the way you take pictures changes whether you are in Germany or in Spain?
Yeah, well, I think definitely, because every place, every city has its own energy and rhythm, and people are different, light is different, and to be able to, well, you have really to see this place and to connect with this place, to resonate with this place, and you have to change something inside of you. This is actually when you're changing the adjustments on your camera. So every time I change the city, I adjust myself to the city. It's also important to, well, just to make an example, the mentality of people. So in Spain, well, I'm in south of Spain, in Malaga, so people do not mind to get close to each other. So I can get really close to people, and they will not be bothered. I know that. I tried. I made photographs where I was really like 15 centimeters, and I wasn't hiding, and I was just there, took a picture, and it was okay, because they are not afraid of people coming into their space. And in Germany, the distance, the interpersonal distance, is just bigger. So being in Germany, I have to keep that in mind. So when I want to take photograph and to be unnoticed, what I always do, I always shoot candid. I never ask for permission. So I have to have it in mind. And of course, photograph photographs that you take in one country or another, they change a lot, I would say. They change a lot.
Thank you. Another one, how do you deal with the situations when you don't feel inspired or you don't feel like going out on the street with a camera?
I would say different. When I really feel like I don't like to go at all, I don't go. I just stay home and do something else. But sometimes I feel, okay, I'm kind of maybe not in that inspirational mood, but I know, and I think many street photographers know that staying on the street is inspiring. So you get out and you're there, you're out in the world and you see things and you get inspired and you're like, where's my camera? I want to shoot. So I would say I allow myself when I'm absolutely not in the mood to shoot, just not to shoot. And when I'm, okay, I don't know, well, it's average, like an average inspiration. I know when I get out on the street, my inspiration will increase. And because this is just a joyful process of being there and witnessing everything, what is happening around. It's, for me, it's really, when I go on the streets, I don't plan anything and I don't have any destinations in my mind or any objects I'm looking for or any sense. I just really go out and I don't know what is going on to happen. I just follow my curiosity, my instincts, that anticipation I feel in the air. And most of the time I find something. So.
Yeah, one can only hope to find that special something when you're out. Another question, which is quite complex, so I will phrase it to you, but I will also send you a text in chat in case. When you are interconnected, it's about give and take relationship. People must compromise and cooperate for it to be successful. How do you compromise with your objects and subjects that you capture in your lens, and how do you cooperate?
What do you actually, what would you exactly mean by compromise? Can you make an example? I'm not sure I got this question.
The lovely person who asked this question, could you please elaborate in the chat so it would be easier for Elena to answer your question?
Yeah, just to, I'm not sure I'm understanding this correctly, so I want to answer something you didn't ask me. Well, maybe I can share something what is close to this topic, meanwhile, personally, just elaborating on the question. What is important for me when I photograph people, I always keep in mind, well, I kind of try to imagine how would they feel when they would look at that photograph. So that's why when you look at my photography, you see a lot of people with hidden faces. So you don't see faces. Because I know for some people, it's not pleasant to be seen on a photograph. And it's also an important value for me just personally for me, I never photograph people in a miserable situation. I don't photograph people in pain, suffering, being weak, lying somewhere drunk in dirt. I never do that. Because this is something, well, I think when I would be in pain, I wouldn't like to be photographed. And this is for me the limit, so the boundary I set for myself. And this is the boundary where I stopped being a street photographer, and it's just, I guess I'm more like human being, a psychologist. I just don't do that. So that's important boundary for me. I never cross. Well, this is a question about privacy, but so what I was talking about, so I thought it's going that direction. I would say, well, this is my personal opinion, and this is my personal view, and maybe many people would disagree. When I take a photograph of a person, I try to be considerate, and I would say most of my photographs, when they show people, they do look beautiful. So I see a lot of sense and beauty. So when I make a photograph, for me it's important that it's also has an aesthetic value, and it's connected to that thought that I elaborated before. So I think, yes, they did give me, or I did take it because I didn't ask for permission, a part of the privacy, but I think I gave back their presence in the public space, transformed, from my perspective, my inner world, my lens, my editing, and I give back something that can inspire other people, and other people can enjoy it. So this is about, and you're right, this is about give and take, but I don't ask for permission. Many street photographers they're not able to ask for permission. So this is taking something, but when I take, I try to be respectful and grateful, and I try to give something back what is meaningful. And I see a lot of meaning in beauty. So that's my answer to that question. It was a bit challenging. Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, I'm getting feedback that that's exactly what the person was asking about. Yay!
Perfect.
Another question. I heard that in Germany it's not always easy to take street photos, as often people are not happy for their photos to be taken. Have you had such situations, and how you dealt with those?
I had once such situation once in all my life, and this was actually I was not as a street photographer on the street. I was sitting in front of a library again. I just noticed I was sitting in a library and waiting for someone. And sometimes when I'm just waiting, just have time, and I had my camera with me, and sometimes I just exercising and shooting. And in front of me, in front of that library in Hamburg, Hühnerposten, who knows, this is a big space in front of the library. It was a little girl, she was cycling, and I was just kind of, I knew I will not need this picture because it didn't have the elements for me that I find important, but I was just exercising my hand. And I took a couple of images, and her mother noticed me, and she came to me. And it was the only one moment in my life I've been noticed and was, taken into responsibility for that. Where even I didn't have any intention to make something with this. I wasn't even a street photographer. I was just a student exercising and shooting. So, and that I just said, yeah, as I said the truth, I'm just shooting around, nothing special. I would delete, no intention, and it was fine. So what is important. What I can give as advice, maybe, how to stay unnoticed. I'm when it's your goal, this because some photographers are very like Brice Gloden, they're very in front of the person. So, well, I prefer to stay unnoticed. Well, I'm very slowly in approaching people. I come as close as I can, and I'm standing there, and I'm just feeling how does it feel for them and for me. And sometimes people are noticing me, and I can see they notice me, but they allow me to stay in this space. So, you know, they're getting accommodating that I'm just there. And then I'm comfortable, they're comfortable, and then I take my camera and they're still comfortable and I'm still comfortable and I make this photo. But I'm aware it will not happen with every person. And so when I feel this person would absolutely hate, I would take a photograph of her. I would not even try. So that's my answer. I guess I make photographs of people and I come close only when I feel they're comfortable and I'm not hiding myself. So I take myself back, but I'm not hiding.
Yeah, I think being a woman also helps, as people generally find women less intimidating when shooting on the... Another question. How important for you is the candidness in street photography?
Well, I personally like it a lot. For me, it's an adventure. For me, it's this element that makes the process really exciting. So this is a big for me. So candid is a must-have for me because it is always this miracle when all elements come together and you didn't stage them, you didn't give any instructions. It's just all elements are just coming together, and this is just an amazing feeling. This feeling of you're witnessing all this beauty that arises just naturally without any directions, any movements from your part, and you're just documenting it. You're not doing something, you're just witnessing this beauty. So the candid moment is a very important element of street photography for me. Yeah.
I think this is the perfect finishing point for your talk. Unless there is anything else you'd like to add quickly.
Just thank you for the questions. Thank you for possibility to share with you my thoughts on street photography. And I wish you great time and further interesting talks and happenings at the London Street Photography Festival.
Thank you so much. Thank you. A reminder that after Elena's talk is finished, this video will finish and there's going to be another stream on the same YouTube channel at 6 o'clock with Irina Sokolova. So grab a drink, coffee, tea, beer, whatever you want. And we'll see you at 6. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.